Hello, and thanks for joining me. I recently had some downtime from work, which I really enjoyed immensely. It was great to just sort of relax and eat and sleep and read and watch some TV. And one of the things that I ended up watching on TV was season one, the entire season of Colony. Here's a graphic of it. This is a science fiction kind of TV show that I think airs on USA Network. I watched this here in the US. I watched it on Netflix, where the entire first season is. They have it there now. So yeah, this show apparently premiered like last January of 2016, and so I heard about it at the time, but since I don't have cable, I didn't see it, and then I noticed that it was on Netflix, and I was like, oh yeah, I'd really like to check that out, and I'm really glad I did because it was there was so much in it to sort of think about. It gave me so much to think about that I thought I would do a quick video just to sort of share, my thoughts about it. This will be a spoiler-free video, so I won't be giving away anything pertinent to the plot, just sort of a summary. I'll start out kind of with a summary of the show, just sort of what it's about, and then main characters, and then I'll just sort of go through, what my takeaways from it. So the summary, so the show itself, we're set in a kind of a near future Los Angeles, and so we get the idea, we understand right away that there has been something is definitely amiss and different. So what's happened is there has actually been an alien invasion. And so we find our main characters sort of living in this Los Angeles that has been walled in. There is Los Angeles is walled in, and then we understand that Santa Monica is walled in. We, over the course of the show, we kind of learn that these sort of, they're called blocks. There are several of them. There are others around the country, but we don't know much else about it. We don't know a lot about the aliens either. But what we do know is that it's a very totalitarian system that they're living under now. There's a curfew. People can be snatched off the street. There's no dissent allowed. People can be taken to these kind of like a work farm that's called the factory, and they're never heard from again. They can just be killed. And so this is sort of the situation that we find ourselves in, or they find themselves in. We understand also through the main characters that during the arrival, when the aliens actually arrived, that there was quite a bit of violence, obviously, because what happened is it all happened very quickly, only in a matter of hours. But people were sort of set where they weren't allowed to move, and so families got separated, lots of people got killed. So our main family, actually, they're like 12, I think, young son anyway, was in Santa Monica, was in a different place, and so they've become separated from him. And then the whole arrival, the whole thing has been less than a year ago, so it's all still relatively new. And so we join a main family. The main characters are actually Josh Holloway plays Will Bowman. Josh Holloway, you may remember from Lost. I think he was Sawyer, maybe, on Lost. And then the other, his wife is played by Wayne Callies. She plays Katie Bowman. You may remember her from The Walking Dead as Lori. This show was it's created by Carlton Cuse and Ryan J. Condal. And Carlton Cuse, hope I'm pronouncing that right, also I think was an executive producer of Lost, so was involved with Lost. But anyway, our main characters, Will and Katie Bowman, they have 3 children. 2 of them are a teenage boy and a young girl live with them. And then the 3rd child, as I said, was separated during their arrival and is in a different place. Katie's sister, Maddie, also lives with them, as well as Maddie's kid lives with them as well. And so the story sort of takes place here in this LA of the near future that is walled in, that is a totalitarian type government. And so, I think the real cool thing about this that this show explores is this kind of totalitarianism. Because what has happened is the aliens, the people actually like Will and Katie, they don't know they don't know the aliens. The aliens aren't actually interacting with them at all, but there are collaborators that collaborate with them and that sort of manage everything. So the government is run by other humans, and the police force and the secret police force actually is called Homeland Security. So what ends up happening is, as the show as we're getting set, is people need to take sides. There's all different sorts of decisions that people have to make. People have to make decisions about if they're going to collaborate with the new government, the new reality that they find themselves in. If they're, some people they do that and then they have different motivations for that. Sometimes it's for greed. Sometimes it's because they think that they can help make things better by collaborating, that they can work that way to make things not as severe. And then there are people who want to resist. And then there are other people who join sort of terrorist movements. And so, I thought that was the real cool thing, because I found myself during the course of the show going back and forth between deciding, they're right, no, they're right, and so to me it was very sort of cool and confusing to decide, right and wrong in this type of situation, because they each of these sort of people, they kind of make, except for the greedy ones, of course, but the ones who are trying to collaborate in order to make things less, try to work with the power to make things better, as opposed to those who are just resisting at all costs and disrupting. And so, this idea also of violence, and like, when is violence appropriate? When is violence necessary? Because the different factions, both the collaborators and the resistance, and also, they both these sides use violence, and they justify it, based on their own sort of moral criteria of where they're coming from. And, so I thought that was real cool. And then I thought about nonviolence, like what kind of nonviolence would work in this type of situation? Would it work at all? Because with the aliens, we learned that they have been pretty brutal to other places. And so they're not without. They obviously could just decide to eliminate the entire LA block if they wanted to, because we don't know what's motivating them. I think that's another kind of a key thing in the story, is that we don't really know why they're here. So we don't know what they want. They might just, for all we know, actually, is that they want power and they have the power. So, it just was a real cool show to kind of get involved with. I think there's 10 episodes in the first season. And this sort of ideas of totalitarianism, of, when is resistance right? When is collaboration right? When is violence okay? What would, put yourself in that sort of situation? And the other thing I thought was cool was the family versus community. Like, when do you have to make a decision, like what's best for you versus what's best for your family, and then what's best for the community? Like, when do you sacrifice your family for the community? When do you sacrifice yourself for your family? or never? Are you only out for yourself? Or are you only out for your family? These are all sorts of questions that get asked during the course of the show. So I thought it was really cool. Season 2 I have heard is coming up in January of 2017. It begins. Unfortunately, as I said, I don't have cable, so I probably will have to wait until it appears on another format for me to be able to see. But I will love to see it. Eventually I will be on the lookout for season 2. So, I just wanted to share that real quick, just because I felt it was so interesting, and this ideas of totalitarianism and violence and resistance and collaboration all gave me a lot to think about. So I think I'll close with that. Until next time, take care. Bye.